Well, hello, supporters of Minneapolis Public Schools. My name is Heather, and normally I say, here's what happened at this week's board meeting, but there have been so many board meetings in June that I'm just going to kind of give you a highlight of a whole bunch of series of them, because if I had done a school board recap about each of the meetings, I would have been here a lot. And you know how the end of the school year is. As we're all adjusting into the summer swing and the schedule, June was a lot. I got to be at a lot of different schools and see some amazing fifth grade celebrations and some kindergarten graduations and some high five graduations. And the end of the school year is so beautifully bittersweet. And it's like we all get to take a deep breath. So I'm going to just share some highlights over what it was a lot of meetings. The board had a retreat. They had an extra kind of additional meeting last night to vote on some things. And then they had their regular June meetings. So some things to note. The board unanimously voted for Anishinaabe School to have their own designated building. That's a really big deal. We don't know a lot of the details, but they committed to moving forward with that. I'm very excited. It's amazing. The board also voted on a gender inclusion policy for our district, which is just beautiful and lovely, and it has some really profound language in it that we really need about accountability and about learning. And by the way, if you want to listen and learn more about the gender inclusion policy, you can listen to Belonging in Classrooms on this episode where we talk to Claire and Anna, two parents who really helped to sort of lead that movement. And then we also had a literacy decision. With the state passing the READ Act, there's been a lot of confusion about, what approved curriculi will be happening, what's going to happen. The state's still working out some details. Part of the downside of that Democratic trifecta that happened in this amazing legislative session where we had money to spend and so many beautiful bills came out is details need to happen, right? As we start to take these, the READ Act out to schools, then we really need to start to think about the how and the curriculi and does money come with it and all those kinds of things. And it's been a lot for our academics department to sort of learn as they go, as they're trying to implement. And so there was kind of a conversation about what are we going to do for literacy curriculum. It sounds like the plan right now is for 18 schools to sort of early adopt one curriculum called UFly, which is a science-based reading curriculum, and then other schools to transition to that and something else. So there's this complexity with that. And oh my gosh, we could do a whole podcast just about what I learned in that literacy update. But I want you to stay tuned to this conversation because I think we're going to learn more over the coming months as the state of Minnesota figures out exactly what's next, and the state and the city of Minneapolis and our school district really starts to look at what's next. Then, the fourth grade students from Ella Baker Global Studies School delivered their drawings. So the students at Ella Baker have been working on this concept of inclusive playgrounds, and we know that made it to the board meeting. They delivered a series of drawings to the school board at this meeting to really share what could an inclusive playground be. That was really beautiful to get to watch. And then Tuesday night this week, the board was debating about what do they want the district to research next for its next equity, diversity, impact assessment process called an EDIA, where the data team and a group of community members takes a deep dive onto the impact of policies around, how does this policy or practice impact marginalized students or students who we push to the margins, right? Because there's nothing wrong with them. It's the systems. And so there was a big debate. They did not vote about it yet. We still have to wait for the details. But I will just say it sounded like literacy was something that they were talking about, policies around literacy. And I'm going to just keep listening for that. They talked about reconvening in August. And then, after all of those board meetings in June, here's the good news. We do not have a board meeting in July. So we get to take a little bit of time off, take a breather. Everybody gets to rest a little bit, and then we'll be back at it in August. That's what happened this month of June in Minneapolis Public Schools at the board meetings. I hope you all have a beautiful summer. Thanks so much for listening and for your support of our district.